And good evening, race fans. Welcome back to the Reigel Promotions Esports 360 Nationals right here on Reigel Promotions Esports YouTube channel. Tonight presented by Right Rear Racing and Slide Job Syndicate. We're just rolling out here tonight for qualifying on preliminary night number 2. My name is Robert Hill Jr. Joining me is Ella Scott. Ella, we got qualifying underway here, so we're going to jump down and take a look at some of these drivers putting in their qualifying laps, and we'll see who is going to set the quick time here. In this one, we see Rob Atten out there on the racetrack. He's going to go to position number 3. Steven Stewart going to go to the second spot as Ernie Williams Jr. slots in quickest with a 15.89. So these guys already putting in some pretty good lap times on the boards. And why don't you tell us a little bit about what qualifying means here tonight?
Yeah, so each racer will have 2 laps for their qualifying, and then we will transition into 4 heat races, 8 laps, top 4 advancing to the B mains. And then from the B mains, our top 4 will be advancing to our feature to round off the night, 25 laps, 24 cars on the field.
Of course, qualifying tonight brought to you by Casey Simmons Cinematography, proud partner of the 360 Nationals, as we see Jay Schaff go 3rd quickest overall out here. He's going to slot in with a pretty good lap time. Dustin Sargent just went to 2nd. Ricky Maines to 4th. But new quick time, Matt Grimm going to go to the top of the charts in car number 91. Good time for him. Taking a look a little bit further back, couple drivers out there on the racetrack putting in their first times of the nights. Looking at the World of Outlaws entry of Dean Reynolds on lap number 1. He's going to go 21st quickest. Looking to pick up here on lap number 2 as we'll ride on board with Dino as he comes around turn number 4, currently slated 23rd overall. Is he going to jump on lap number 2? He will not, so Dean going to have to start pretty deep in the field. As we jump a little bit further up, Tanner Pettit going to go to 2nd quickest overall as we're coming to the conclusion of our qualifying session. Logan Trimmer out there on the racetrack in car number 45. He's going to work his way around the track. Just a couple seconds to go, 26th on his first lap. Shane Yost going to come in to put in his what looks to be his only timed lap in this one, going to be 25th overall. So it looks like Matt Grimm going to be quick time in this session. Tanner Pettit 2nd. Chad Griggs going to be in 3rd. Ernie Williams Jr. in 4th. Mason Hannigan rounds out the top 5 as we're going to get set for the first of our heat races here this evening. And once again, just a quick look at the format. Top 4 going to advance from each of these heat races directly to the feature. Everyone else going to go to the B mains. We'll have an inversion of the top 8 as well. Points awarded all throughout the heats and qualifying here tonight, and the Bs as well. And those are going to be important when it comes to our A main tomorrow night. Top 16 in combined points from Monday and Tuesday will advance directly to the A main as we take a look down on the pit lane. Of course, pit road brought to you by Dirt Series Promotions. This is your starting grid for heat race number 1. Jackson Sutton on the pole, Shane Yost to his outside, Scott Thomason and Joseph Groom going to make up row number 2. Row 3, Jay Schaff and Jake Harris. Row number 4, Mason Hannigan and Matt Grimm with Michael Hermachinski and Nathan Annette in row number 5. Nicholas Mole going to round out the field in position number 11 as these drivers currently sitting there waiting to roll out onto the racetrack. Once again, welcome everybody to night number 2 of the Reigel Promotions Esports 360 Nationals. Of course, tomorrow night we will have the A main. Coverage of that going to begin at 8 o'clock Eastern time with our B mains and of course the big dance as the drivers going to work their way around. One of the cool things we'll do a little bit later on tonight is we'll get these drivers set up 4 wide for tonight's preliminary A main, so be sure to stay tuned for that. Always a cool and exciting moment here. But Ella, last night we had some really great battles throughout those fields in the preliminary heat races, and of course that A main last night. What can we expect here tonight now that some of these drivers have been able to see what's worked and what hasn't on preliminary night number 1?
Yeah, you know, I'm sure a lot of the drivers were watching last night just to see what they could learn and how the track for like tonight would be. I'm sure some of them picked up a few pointers from Caden Barry, who was our feature winner last night, and just looking to put that into their race tonight and hopefully come away with the win tonight.
Well, of course, Caden Barry, like we mentioned, one of those guys that just so good in this one, and that's going to be a driver to watch tomorrow night. Of course, he also has some drivers in this particular feature race. As we're going to come around, the third-party gaming green flag is out, and we're underway in preliminary heat race number 1. 10 laps, or 8 laps, I should say, is the distance in this one. Top 4 going to advance into the A main coming up later on tonight. Jackson Sutton leads the way. Oh, tight battle here, and it's going to lead to calamity for Scott Thomason, and multiple others going to get involved. And the first caution going to fly tonight, brought to you by 618 Engraving and Design. And Jay Schaff going to be one of those involved in this one, but Scott Thomason looks to be the driver to have picked up the most issues here in this one. Let's see if we can get our replay machine to work tonight here in the 360 Nationals. Just watching these drivers working their way around. Looks like just not enough space for the stuff they were trying to maneuver through turns 1 and 2 that time. Multiple cars going to get involved. A couple of them going to go up and over and lose their top. Scott Thomason, Joseph Groom, Jay Schaff, and I believe Michael Hermachinski also going to be involved in that one, as that was caution number 1, brought to you by 618 Engraving as Design. And we take a look down on pit lane, brought to you by Dirt Series Promotions. A couple drivers getting those fast repairs sorted out here in this one. Ella, they'll try to rejoin us a little bit later on, as we're going to be looking for that 3PG green flag to come up in just a couple of moments, as that scoring tower doesn't seem to like these heat races. Always wants to show everybody, wants to give everyone a little bit of extra time on the air, but we just can't do that for everybody.
Hey, at least tonight we didn't have the technical difficulties.
Hey, don't even jinx that. Don't you jinx that, Ella Scott. No.
We'll live with the tower.
We'll live with the tower. The tower is just always going to do that based off of how this kind of racing runs. As the 1 to green signal comes up on the top of your screen, Jackson Sutton, Shane Yost, Jake Harris, Mason Hannigan, Matt Grimm. That is the top 5 as those drivers head their way down the back straightaway. Going to be looking to go green this time by the third-party gaming green flag, getting set to go in the air as the field works their way through turns number 3 and 4 this time. Jackson Sutton in control of the field as we come off of turn number 4. Green flag's out. We're back underway. Sutton with a good jump. Shane Yost there in the second spot. Jake Harris up to third. Here comes Mason Hannigan looking to the inside of him as they're going to battle their way down the back straightaway. Hannigan down to the bottom. Matt Grimm just behind him. 3 wide up the road. Jake Harris working that top lane as the drivers work their way down the front stretch. 5 laps remaining here in heat race number 1. Of course, heat race number 1 tonight brought to you by Right Rear Racing as we're watching that battle for that third spot. That's Jake Harris up top, Matt Grimm down on the bottom. Just up the road from them is Shane Yost, and your race leader in the Caden Barry entry of Jackson Sutton. Sutton is absolutely on a tear here, coming to 3 laps to go in heat race number 1. He's got himself a half-second lead over second place Shane Yost as Yost works his way down the back straightaway. A little kiss with the outside wall. Jake Harris right behind him as we'll come around this time. Going to be popsicle sticks in the air. 2 laps to go for Jackson Sutton as Sutton heads his way through 1 and 2. He's going down the back stretch, coming to the white flag this time. Matt Grimm holding on to that 4th spot, trying to get third away from Jake Harris. Mason Hannigan right there as well. Hannigan has a taste of one of those transfer spots. Not going to be quite close enough as we jump back up to Jackson Sutton. He's headed down the back stretch for the final time through turns number 3 and 4. Yost looks to the inside, but not going to be enough. Checkered flag is out. Jackson Sutton going to pick up heat race number 1. Shane Yost second. Mason Hannigan third. Jake Harris in the 4th spot. Then it's going to be Matt Grimm, Nicholas Mole, Michael Hermachinski, Scott Thomason, Nathan Annette, and Jay Schaff rounding out heat race number 1. Well, that was a quick one there, Ellis. We're going to get set for the Casey Simmons Cinematography heat race number 2. And leading them off on the pole, it's Dean Reynolds going to lead him off from position number 1. Ted York to his outside. Gavin Chatham and Blake Carrick going to make up row number 2. Row 3, Steven Stewart and Ashton Mealer. Dustin Sargent, Tanner Pettit make up row 4. Row 5, John Hawley and Rob Atten with Zachary Good rounding out the field. As we take a gander down on the pit lane, you can see Dino there in that World of Outlaws number 79 entry, getting set to lead us off from the pole. This is going to be another great race here. Of course, once again, heat race number 2 brought to you by Casey Simons Cinematography, a proud partner of the Reigel Promotions Esports 360 National right here on YouTube. Be sure to give us a like, hit the subscribe button, let us know where you're watching from, who you're cheering from, and what your thoughts are on the event so far. Of course, we're on night number 2 of prelims, still a long way to go here, and Ella, looks like the racing has definitely continued from last night. We had some great battles last evening, and again in heat race number 1 we had some good ones. Heat race number 2, looking at this entry list, I don't think we're gonna have a shortage of action here.
No, absolutely. Last night was amazing, and I'm sure tonight will be even better. Lots of great drivers out there tonight, and I'm sure they won't disappoint you race fans, and hopefully you all enjoy it, and make sure to give the like and subscribe.
Dean Reynolds, Ted York going to get set for the green flag here in just a couple of moments. The iRacing.com pace truck just waiting for the opportunity to pull off as we take a look from the trackside cameras. These drivers working the way through turns number 3 and 4 this time. And the pace truck is off. Green flag's in the hand of Barney the Flag Man. It's out and we're underway. The Third Party Gaming green flag out in heat race number 2. Dean Reynolds going to lead us down the back straightaway for the first time. Gavin Chatham in that 2nd spot. Chatham on the bottom. Steven Stewart there. Looks like issues towards the rear. Tanner Pettit going to get a heavy impact to the inside wall. Unfortunately for him, he's going to tow to the infield. He'll work his way down, unfortunately, to the Dirt Series Promotions pit lane. And that going to take him out of heat race number 2 as Dean Reynolds continues to lead the way 2 laps into this one. He's got a lead of about 0.3 of a second over Gavin Chatham. Steven Stewart in that 3rd spot. Blake Carrick holding on to position number 4 just ahead of Teddy York as York trying to work his way into the big dance here tonight. Working that high lane just behind the Mac Tools number 21 of Blake Carrick as Carrick works his way through 3 and 4. Rob Atten on the outside looking in. Dustin Sargent there as well. Zachary Good, John Hawley, and Ashton Mealer. All those drivers on the outside of this one looking in as we're coming to 4 laps to go. Dean Reynolds has the lead, but here comes Gavin Chatham looking to the inside. Chatham with a good run down to the inside lane as Reynolds gets that bite off of turn number 2 that time down the back straightaway. Reynolds with the advantage as here comes Chatham once again working the inside lane. Reynolds gonna kick it sideways off of 4. 3 laps to go in heat race number 1, brought to you by Simons Cinematography here. Reynolds, Chatham, Stewart, and Carrick currently in those transfer spots, but that battle is on for the top spot as Gavin Chatham closing in, coming to the white flag this time. We're making quick work of heat race number 2 as Reynolds comes around. White flag gonna be in the air this upcoming time by Gavin Chatham back to the inside as they come off of turn number 4. Barney the Flagman has that white flag in the air. 1 lap to go for the Full Throttle Motorsports number 79 World of Outlaws entry of Dean Reynolds is behind him. Chatham trying to hold off Carrick. Carrick right there. Here comes Steven Stewart as well. But off of turn number 4, checkered flag is out. Dean Reynolds going to pick up heat race number 2. Gavin Chatham second. Steven Stewart third. Blake Carrick going to come home in 4th. That rounds out our transfer cars. Rob Atten, Dalton Sargent, Ted York, Zachary Good, John Hawley, Ashton Mueller, and Tanner Pettit all going to have to come through the B main. But for Dean Reynolds, he's just locked himself in to tonight's A main. So good run by our good buddy Dino there, Ella, in heat race number 2. They were able to get that one done in just about 2 minutes time. So very, very quick heat race number 2 as we're waiting heat race number 3 to roll on out. And it looks like they're about to hit the pit lane. It's going to be Joseph Truskowski on the pole alongside Logan Trimmer in row number 1. Row 2, Fred Hoffman and Andrew Allen. Row 3, Larry Moody and Trevor Royer. Ricky Main and Chad Griggs make up row number 4. Row 5, Sean Stevens and Dustin Glenn, with Braden Tuttle rounding out the field. So far, so good here tonight, Ella. We've seen some great racing, and that's going to continue here in heat race number 3. Do you think these guys have been watching those first 2 heat races looking for maybe a line that somebody hasn't tested as of yet that may work for them in their preliminary heat race?
I'm sure they're looking just for something different to try. You know, they all want to make it to the A main, possibly even the B main, just looking for somewhere to run on that track. And sometimes it's just a 1-lane track, but I'm sure they're just looking and seeing, hey, maybe I can try this line out and maybe it'll work in my favor.
Well, and it's possible as well that if you don't qualify directly for the A main, you could still lock yourself into the A through one of those Bs coming up a little bit later on. And every point that you gather throughout these opening 2 nights of preliminaries is going to set you up for Wednesday night, tomorrow night, the big dance here in the Regal Promotions Esports 360 Nationals, brought to you by Right Rear Racing. Of course, both the preliminary nights brought to you by Slide Job Syndicate. And all of our sponsors will rotate, by the way, on the bottom right corner of the screen. You just saw Admin Box there. That was the presenting partner of the drivers meeting, which, well, the drivers are supposed to listen to those. Do they always? No, they don't, but they think about it anyways.
You know, you get the odd few that are really into it, but not all of them, unfortunately.
Yeah, not all of them listen. All of them should. Some of them really should, but they still opt not to, as drivers just working their way around here, locking in a couple of laps just to pace around, make sure the track's good to go as we're getting set to come to the green flag this time. Barney the Flagman has the green flag in hand, brought to you by Third Party Gaming. We're underway here in heat race number 3. Heat race number 3 brought to you by Twisted Speed. As Joseph Truskowski going to lead us through lap number 1. Issues at the rear of the field for Ricky Main and Fred Hoffman as the 618 engraving and design yellow flag going to fly on lap number 1. Let's take a look back, see what just happened to Ricky Main to put us under caution here on the opening lap. Watching the 187 entry of Main. Oh, he's just going to get clobbered in this one. Sends him back up the racetrack. Goes for a bit of a halt there. I believe the other car involved in that one was Fred Hoffman. So you're going to watch Hoffman off of turn number, I believe that's off of turn number 2 that time. He's going to slot down into the side of Ricky Main. Main going to go up the track. Just a lot of drivers with not a lot of room to go, and that puts us under caution for the first time here in heat race number 3, once again brought to you by Twisted Speed. And unfortunately, with that one, a couple of twisted chassis in heat race number 3, Ella. And the first 2 heats went off pretty smooth. This one's starting a little bit rocky, but just looking at the drivers throughout this 3rd heat race, a lot of talent in the field. Ricky Main, one of those drivers that I fully expect to lock himself into the A main tomorrow night. A very strong contender. Just a little bit of bad luck at the start of this one.
Yeah, you know, unfortunately, sometimes there's just nowhere to go on tracks like this. And if you look in you don't want to hit anyone that's behind you either, so sometimes you just kind of have to hope for the best, and unfortunately, sometimes it collects some other drivers, but I'm sure they'll be able to get their fast repair and hopefully work their way through the field.
Well, definitely the goal here is we're getting set for the third-party gaming green flag. It's going to be our friend Joseph Trzaskowski leading us back to the green flag here in heat race number 3, as we'll hand it back to Barney the flagman. He's got the green flag in hand. It's in the air, and we're underway once again. Heat race number 3. Trzaskowski gonna lead us through turns number 1 and 2 this time. Logan Trimmer down to the inside of him, side by side for the top spot. Move Trimmer to the lead. Trzaskowski back to second as Chad Griggs falling through the field. He's gonna get passed by Larry Moody and Andrew Allen as we're coming around to just 6 laps to go here in heat race number 3. Griggs holding on to that final transfer spot as just behind him Larry Moody and Trevor Royer duking it out for position. We have a lot of cars in tight spaces here. That's Griggs in 4th all the way back. Andrew Allen there. Joseph Trzaskowski gonna lose a couple of spots. Griggs gonna go up to second. The only driver currently safe here, Ella, is Logan Trimmer, who's been able to pull away from the rest of the field. Has himself about a half second over second place Chad Griggs, who has cleared Joseph Trzaskowski and Andrew Allen. That's currently your top 4. You look all the way back to Trevor Royer. He's got Sean Stevens and Larry Moody right there with him, as Moody gonna come together with Stevens. Ricky Main's gonna slide through. Bit of contact there as well. Main gonna go by. Dustin Glenn gonna go up to that 6th spot, as back up front continues to be Logan Trimmer as we come around. 3 laps to go. It's going to be Popsicle Sticks next time by, as Griggs battling it out for that top position side by side down the backstretch. 2 laps to go. Popsicle Sticks in the air. Trimmer going to go down to the inside of Greg as we work our way off of turn number 2 down the back straightaway this time. Headed for turns number 3 and 4. Going to be coming for the white flag. 1 lap to go here in heat race number 3. It's Logan Trimmer at the line. Going to be the first driver to see the white flag. Fred Hoffman unfortunately crashed a moment ago. As contact there between Griggs and Trimmer sends Trimmer into the outside wall. And as we come through turns number 3 and 4 for the final time, going to be checkered flag, and at the line it's Chad Griggs going to pick up heat race number 3. Logan Trimmer 2nd, Andrew Allen 3rd, Joseph Trzaskowski going to round out the transfer cars in position number 4. Trevor Royer, Rick Main, Dustin Glenn, Larry Moody, Braden Tuttle, Sean Stevens, and Fred Hoffman going to have to go through one of the B mains here tonight. So despite the cautions, another quick heat race here on preliminary night number 2. Of course, night number 2 brought to you by Slide Job Syndicate, a proud partner of the Regal Promotions Esports 360 Nationals. As we get set for heat race number 4, Ella, this is going to be another good one as you look at the fans still rolling on by out here on the midway, or on the nearby streets, I should say, as we take a look at the starting grid here in heat race number 4. Heat race number 4 brought to you by TJ Visuals. Dylan Johnson on the pole alongside Aiden Schramm in row number 1. Row 2, Tyler Bowman and Richie Gaines the third. Row number 3, Tobias Fitzsimmons and Jimbo Rooney with Kenny Hoffman and Ernie Williams Jr. making up row number 4. Row 5, Jake Roya and Derek Jones with Gary Mansberger rounding out the 11-car field. Once again, top 4 will advance to tonight's A main. Everyone else gonna have to go through the Consi. Heat race number 4 brought to you by TJ Visuals, a proud partner of the 360 Nationals. Ella, what are you watching for here in heat race number 4? Is there any driver that you have circled on this grid as somebody to watch?
Honestly, all the drivers, like, it's really hard to pick just one because all of them have so much talent and everyone's racing hard. They want that win and they want those points to lock them into tomorrow night's feature. So, but I'm gonna go with the one off the pole because it seems like most of them have been getting a pretty good restart, good start off, and yeah, just working that top lane, and it'll be interesting to see who takes away this win.
I think that's definitely a good point there. It's all about the starting position. starting on the front row has been really helpful for these drivers here tonight, and I think that's going to come in handy in this one as well. As you see the drivers working their way around, we expect the iRacing.com pace truck to make that left-hand dash here in just a moment and work their way back towards tonight's pit road. Once again, pit road brought to you by Dirt Series Promotions as we're getting set for the green flag in heat race number 4. Wow, okay. That's already a absolute mess right there, as the 618 Engraving and Designs yellow flag gonna fly before we even get going. And it's Aiden Schramm, your pole sitter, gonna get involved in this one. Let's take another peek at what just happened here at the front of the field. Looks like the leaders just come together, and then it's a domino effect all throughout. Numerous drivers gonna get involved in this one. Almost everybody really involved in. Ella, just taking a look down at the pit road, brought to you by Dirt Series Promotions. Jimbo Rooney down there, Richie Gaines, Jake Roya, and Aiden Schramm all making visits to their particular pit crews as we see Schramm trying to get that car fixed up. Richie Gaines going to work his way back out there. So the only driver still on pit lane is Aiden Schramm. And I got to wonder if potentially he ended up towing back to pit lane. And that usually not a good sign, as Dylan Johnson going to work his way to Dirt Series Promotions pit road as well here tonight.
Yeah, so just an unfortunate start for those front drivers.
Not a good start whatsoever here, as the drivers that started at the front of the field now, well, they're all the way at the back of the field. So they're going to have a lot of work to do in heat race number 4. And for those drivers watching at home right now, what you just saw right there, that's what you do not want to do when it comes to the A main or those Bs coming up a little bit later on. Definitely do not want to wreck your car and put yourself towards the rear of the field. You can just see some of these vehicles as they're working their way by have some cosmetic damage from that initial incident, and some of these drivers didn't even get to cross the start finish line before they already had to make a visit to pit lane and take their fast repair. One fast repair available to each of these drivers here tonight, as we're going to work our way to the green flag and get set to get back underway in heat race number 4, brought to you by TJ Visuals. We love 618 Engraving and Designs, but we would love to keep them off the screen for a couple seconds so we can get going once again here in heat race number 4, is Tyler Bowman gonna lead us down the back straightaway. He's gonna make contact with the outside wall. That opens up the inside for Tobias Fitzsimmons. Fitzsimmons gonna get by Kenny Hoffman right there as well. New leader Kenny Hoffman, but here comes Tobias Fitzsimmons as those drivers work their way around once again. Tyler Bowman in the 3rd spot. Ernie Williams Jr. up on the high side as those drivers continue to battle it out up towards the front of the field, I should say. Derek Jones on the outside looking in. Dylan Johnson, Gary Mansberger, Jimbo Rooney, Richie Gaines, Jake Roya back there as well, as Ernie Williams Jr. throws a bit of a slider to work his way up to that 2nd spot as they work their way through turns number 3 and 4, coming to 4 laps to go this time. Williams working the high side. Hoffman, your race leader, down on the bottom. 4 to go for Kenny Hoffman. Popsicle sticks in the air, or cross flags in the air that time. 4 in, 4 to go. Williams in that 2nd spot as he goes up to the high side. Hoffman down on the bottom as Hoffman gonna try to hold on to the lead. Ernie Williams Jr. had a bit of a hop, skip, and a jump on the high side of 4 that time. He's gonna have to battle back as he looks to the inside of Hoffman down the back straightaway. Kenny Hoffman, I think he just kissed the outside wall a little bit there, as he's gonna come around this time to popsicle sticks. 2 flags up, 2 laps to go for Kenny Hoffman. Hoffman and Williams both started deeper in the field, having to work their way up from row number 4, now finding themselves in 1st and 2nd respectively, and well on their way to locking into tonight's A main. Tobias Fitzsimmons in 3rd, Tyler Bowman in a battle with Dylan Johnson for the final transfer spot. Johnson currently has it, Bowman right behind him as the white flag's in the air. We're going to come around this time to the checkered flag for Kenny Hoffman. Hoffman going to pick up heat race number 4, brought to you by TJ Visuals. Ernie Williams Jr. 2nd, Tobias Fitzsimmons 3rd, and to the line it's going to be Dylan Johnson with the final transfer. Tyler Bowman, Richie Gaines, Derek Johnson, Jimbo Rooney, Jake Roya, Gary Mansberger, and Aiden Schramm going to have to come through one of those consies here tonight. But Kenny Hoffman victorious here in heat race number 4 as we get set for the first of our B mains here tonight. Ella, brought to you by 618 Engraving and Designs. On the pole, it's going to be Matt Grimm in car number 91 alongside Trevor Royer in the second position. Row number 2, Nicholas Mole and Rick Mayne. Row 3, Michael Hermaczynski alongside Dustin Glenn. Row 4, Scott Thomason and Larry Moody. Row 5, Nathan Annette and Braden Tuttle with Chase Schaff and Sean Stevens in row 6. Row 7 is Joseph Groom and Fred Hoffman. So we've gone through the heat races. Now we're on to the Bs. You can see the sun starting to set a little bit more here, Ella, as these drivers are about to work their way off of pit road and onto the racetrack here tonight. Just looking at the Bs and how those work tonight. 10 laps the distance, top 4 transfer to the feature race. Everyone else that does not transfer will pick up points that'll help them set up for the A main tomorrow. Top 16 will advance. And Ella, I know you took a look at the points earlier on. Last night's winner, Caden Barry, not the points leader entering tonight.
No, Caden Barry is sitting a little bit further down in the standings. Ross Kaiser hitting, and Bowen Smith with the 480 points sitting in tied for first right now. So I don't know if winning that feature was in his favor, but I mean, he's still locked in for the feature so far tomorrow, so I'm sure he's watching right now, crossing his fingers that it'll be enough for him to be in that feature tomorrow.
Well, and you can just imagine that those drivers, like we mentioned earlier, taking some notes here, getting set for the A main tomorrow night as you watch the field coming on by. The fans in attendance here tonight at the virtual Knoxville Raceway, getting set for 𝐒𝐄𝐒 action. We're going to have 2 𝐒𝐄𝐒s here tonight, and then of course we will have our A main, which $10 up for grabs tonight in preliminary night number 2. As the pace truck's off, we're going to come to the green flag this time. Matt Grimm, Trevor Royer going to lead us to the green flag as we're underway. B main number 1 of the night is out, brought to you by 618 Engraving and Designs. Trevor Royer going to get a good jump out to the race lead as he'll jump ahead of Matt Grimm for the top spot. Grimm going to battle back on the bottom. Grimm to the race lead. Royer to second. Rick Mayne up to the 3rd spot. Dustin Glenn into the outside wall right as we get to him. He's going to lose a bunch of spots as Nicholas Mole and Michael Hermaczynski going to get by him. Glenn going to battle back up top. Way to recover there for Dustin Glenn as he's not giving up. Larry Moody losing a bunch of spots at the back of the pack. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Looks like he's got some heavy damage on that right front. That wheel not doing what it's supposed to as he's going to work his way towards pit road. Matt Grimm continues to lead in car number 91. Trevor Royer going to battle to his inside as they're going to be side by side this time. Trevor Royer to the race lead down the back straightaway and through turns number 3 and 4. Royer will slide up. He's got Grimm right there with him as they come down the front straightaway. Grimm to the inside, Royer to the outside slider, Grimm to the high side, contact for the lead. These drivers absolutely not afraid to push it throughout this one as we got issues in the back, and the 618 Engraving and Designs yellow flag gonna fly. Jay Schaff, Nathan Annette, Braden Tuttle, Fred Hoffman, Scott Thomason, all gonna be involved in this one. 5 in, 5 to go. Ella, let's take a look at the caution and see what happened to bring out our 618 Engraving and Designs yellow flag. So just watching these drivers towards the tail of the field. Looks like Nicholas Mole going to get together with Freddie Hoffman, and then a couple other drivers just nowhere to go. That's the 13 of Hoffman going to get pretty heavy damage in that one. Jay Schaff going to be involved. Nathan Annette also going to end up in the inside barrels. So kind of salting the wounds there for Nathan Annette as the caution going to fly. And we're going to take a look down at our pit road, which once again tonight brought to you by Dirt Series Promotions. And a lot of these drivers coming down, taking advantage of that fast repair, Ella.
Yeah, you know, that fast repair does work in your favor sometimes. It allows you to get back out there, get back into the race, and gain some positions before the laps close out.
We lost a couple drivers on that one. That is unfortunate, but part of the game. They'll have to come through consies tomorrow night if they want to work their way into the big show. Fred Hoffman, Larry Moody, the two drivers not currently out there on the racetrack. And while we're under caution, why don't you quickly tell us a couple of the partners that are supporting the 360 Nationals here this week?
Yeah, you know, we have lots of great sponsors, great partners, part of the 360 Nationals, Right Rear Racing, Slide Job Syndicate, Admin Box, KC Simon Cinematography, Twisted Speed, TJ Visuals, 618 Engraving, WFO Designs, Night Owl Racing League, Victory Fuel, Third Party Gaming, Dirt Series Promotion, Roya's Graphics, Dirt Slingers, Royalty Motorsports, Metcalf Cinematography, and Premier Racing Setups.
Well, green flag's back out. Thank you, Ella, for the list of our great partners here that help put on such a fantastic event. As up front, Trevor Royer leads the way. Matt Grimm in that second spot as they head down the front straightaway. Just 4 laps to go. Royer holds on to that top spot, but Grimm right there. Both drivers working that upper lane, trying to get that little bit of bite that's still up there. There's some moisture still in this Knoxville Raceway. Another driver to watch, the 187 of Rick Mayne. He's worked his way up to the 3rd spot. Dustin Glenn, he was in the outside wall not long ago. Now he's got himself in a transfer spot as we got one in the outside wall towards the rear. That's Jay Schaff in the 3 car. He's going to lose a bunch of spots. Keeps it going in the right direction, but for him, it's going to be a long way forward as we have the Popsicle Sticks in the air. 2 laps to go for Trevor Royer as he works his way down the back straightaway. Going to be coming to the white flag this time. Royer in car number 90 leads the way. Grimm 2nd, Rick Mayne 3rd, Dustin Glenn in 4th as the white flag's out. 1 lap to go here in B Main number 1 on preliminary night number 2. Here in the Regal Promotions 360 Nationals. Royer rounds 3 and 4 this time. He's coming to the checkered flag. Trevor Royer going to pick up B Main number 1. Matt Grimm 2nd, Rick Mayne 3rd, Dustin Glenn going to round out the transfers. That means Sean Stevens, Jay Schaff, Michael Hermachinski, Joseph Groom, Braden Tuttle, Nathan Annette, Scott Thomason, Fred Hoffman, Nicholas Mold, and Larry Moody going to have to join us tomorrow in one of the consies as Trevor Royer celebrates. We're going to get set for B Main number 2. So good drive by Royer, able to work his way up to that top spot and steal away the first of our 2 Bs on night number 2 of preliminary action here at the Knoxville Raceway as we get set to roll out our 2nd group onto the racetrack. And Ella Scott, why don't you walk us through the starting grid for B Main number 2?
Yeah, starting on the inside, we have Rob Atten. Follow on to the outside, Tyler Bowman, Dustin Sargent, and Richie Gaines. Ted York, Derek Jones, Zachary Good, Jimbo Rooney, John Hawley, Jake Roya, Ashton Mealer, and Gary Mansberger. And we have Dustin Sargent, Richie Gaines, and to round it off, we have Tanner Pettit and Aiden Schramm.
You just really wanted to see Dustin Sargent and Richie Gaines out there, but nonetheless, all is good there. Once again, 10 laps the distance. Top 4 going to advance to tonight's A Main. Everyone else going to have to go through the consies tomorrow night. B Main number 2 tonight brought to you by WFO Designs, a great partner of the Regal Promotions 360 Nationals right here on Regal Promotions Esports. Be sure to drop a like, hit the subscribe button, join us for all of our great events. And speaking of great events, we got some more coming up here over the next couple of weeks. Just 2 weeks from now, the Jackpot 100 brought to you by 618 Engraving and Design at Lernerville. That's in the Pro Late Models. Then in August, we have the Oxford 125 in the Pavement Ignition Series opener. That's the late model stock car. And September 15th and 17th, King's Clash. That's the Eldora Sprint doubleheader. $50 and a trophy to win in that one. And if you get yourself into the A Main, you're going to come home with at least $10. It's $10 to start, so not too bad to take part in that one. Be sure to check out Regal Promotions Esports. Lots of great events. all year long. Is this one once again has some heavy hitters, Ella Scott. We got Tyler Bowman and Rob Atten at the front of the field. By the way, it does look like two drivers not going to make the call for B-Main number 2, Ashton Mueller and Aiden Schramm, both drivers still sitting back on the pit lane as we'll come around this time. Green flags out, run away in B-Main number 2. Rob Atten going to lead the way through turns 1 and 2 that time, down the back straightaway. Atten in the top spot, Sargent second, Tyler Bowman right there in the third position, fourth currently held by Richie Gaines as Gaines gets up to that third spot. Out front continues to be Atten leading the way one lap in. Tyler Bowman battling it out with Teddy York for the fourth and final transfer spots as these drivers putting on a show up here towards the front of the field. Teddy York going to get himself up into fourth as that was Tanner Pettit working his way up to the rear end of the Tyler Bowman machine. He's going to look for a twofer as he goes down to the inside of Rob Atten, move Tanner Pettit to third. He's going to come from the outside of the top 5 into the third position as battles on for the lead. Richie Gaines goes to the inside of Dustin Sargent and he takes over the race lead. 3 laps in, Richie Gaines with a great run here in car number 111 as Tanner Pettit now to the inside of him. New leader once again, Tanner Pettit as he heads down the back straightaway off of turn number 4 this time. Going to be 6 laps to go for car number 24, Tanner Pettit. And Ella, he started on the inside of the final row, and within 3 laps, Tanner Pettit is in the lead here in B-Main number 2. That just shows me how strong of a car this driver has here tonight. He's going to be one to watch as we reach the halfway point.
Absolutely. I'm sure some of those drivers watching are making sure to see what line he's running. Maybe it'll work in his favor.
Well, it's working in his favor here so far as he's going to come around to 4 laps to go. Richie Gaines holding on to that second spot. Dalton Sargent third. Jimbo Rooney up to the 4th position as he battles it out with Teddy York. We're going to keep our eyes on this battle for the final transfer position here tonight as we'll come around to 3 laps to go. Jimbo Rooney currently holding on to it. He's pulled away from Teddy York, so the battle's on for second now. Richie Gaines on that high lane. Dustin Sargent right there. Jimbo Rooney. It's a 3-car dance. 4th, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th is out front. Tanner Pettit going to come around to popsicle sticks this time with a 2.5-second lead over the rest of the field. He is on rails here in this one. Tanner Pettit on the move and not looking back as we'll keep our eyes on Gaines, Sargent, and Rooney. And don't count out Teddy York as York goes down to the inside of Rooney. White flag going to be in the air. 1 lap to go. Here's your battle for the final transfer position. Teddy York closes in on Jimbo Rooney. York to the bottom. Rooney up top through turns number 1 and 2 this time and down the backstretch. York going to go up to the final transfer spot as off of turn number 4. Checkered flag is out. Tanner Pettit going to pick up B-Main number 2. Richie Gaines second. Dustin Sargent third. And at the line, the final transfer goes to Teddy York. York going to lock in Jimbo Rooney, Jake Roya, Tyler Bowman, Rob Atten, Gary Mansberger, Derek Jones, John Hawley, Zachary Good, Ashton Mueller, and Aiden Schramm all going to have to go through a 𝐒𝐒 tomorrow night. That'll do it for qualifying sessions here in this one. And Ella, we're going to get set for warm-up. Warm-up, of course, brought to you by the Night Owl Racing League, another great partner here of the Reigel Promotions Esports 360 Nationals, which once again brought to you by our good friends over at Right Rear Racing, and both of the preliminary nights brought to you by Slide Job Syndicate. We're going to step away real quick. When we come back, we will have preliminary night number 2, A-Main. 25 laps is the distance. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Well, it's time for preliminary night number 2, A-Main here. Brought to you by our good friends at Slide Job Syndicate as part of the 360 Nationals. Let's go ahead and take a look at the starting grid. Currently sitting down there on pit lane. Leading them off of the pole, it's Jackson Sutton alongside Dean Reynolds. Row number 2, Chad Grigg and Kenny Hoffman. Row 3, Shane Yost and Gavin Chatham. Row 4 belongs to Logan Trimmer and Ernie Williams Jr. Mason Hannigan and Steven Stewart make up row 5, with row 6 belonging to Andrew Allen and Tobias Fitzsimmons. Ella, why don't you take us through the rest of our starting grid?
Yeah, starting in position 13, we have Jake Harris, followed by Blake Carrick, Joseph Terspinski, Dylan Johnson, Trevor Royer, Tanner Pettit, Matt Grimm, Richie Gaines, Rick Main, Dustin Sargent, Dustin Glenn, and to round off the field, Ted York starting in position 24.
That is your starting field for preliminary night number 2, A-Main, here in the 360 Nationals. The driver's going to roll off the starting grid, work their way out, get a couple of warm-up laps in. Of course, as mentioned, Jackson Sutton and Dean Reynolds going to be the drivers to lead us to the green flag here tonight in night number 2. So, Ella, we saw some great racing throughout both, or all 4 of the heat races on both nights here, as well as all the B mains we've had so far. Last night in the A main, we saw some great battles, and it was a great race. Tonight, expecting much of the same as these drivers are getting ready. They're going to separate the field. The front rows are going to spread out. They're going to open up and allow for the 4 wide salute, brought to you by Victory Fuel here in the 360 Nationals. Drivers just trying to shape up for that one and get set in just a couple of moments. Of course, just takes a little bit of work to set up a 4 wide, but this is for all of the fans watching online at home on the Reigel Promotions Esports YouTube channel, as well as in the grandstands here at the virtual Knoxville Raceway as the field comes by 4 wide. Taking a look all throughout the field. What a spectacle this is. 4 wide at Knoxville. Victory Fuel, the proud partner of the Reigel Promotions Esports 360 Nationals, bringing you the greatest spectacle in motorsports, the 4 wide salute. Drivers gonna set it free, let it rip. They're gonna go back into their positions as they'll catch up to the pace truck and get us back underway here in just a couple of moments. Jackson Sutton, Dean Reynolds, Chad Griggs, Shane Yost, Kenny Hoffman. That is the top 5. Ella, taking a look through this field, couple drivers starting deeper that we saw have some phenomenal runs in the B mains here tonight. Tanner Pettit, going to be one of those to watch. Who else are you keeping your eye on here in night number 2 action?
Well, you took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to be watching for Tanner Pettit. You know, we saw him come from a little bit deeper down in that last B main and take the win, and I'm sure he'll hopefully be able to do it again in this A feature.
Well, we're definitely going to keep an eye on these guys, as looks like we're going to go green next time by 25 laps the distance here tonight. Again, points all throughout the field up for grabs. Top 16 in combined points from nights 1 and 2 will lock in to the big dance tomorrow night. That's what everybody is hoping to do here tonight as we work our way down the backstretch for the final time before we set sail for this 25-lap spectacle here at the Knoxville Raceway. Dean Reynolds and Jackson Sutton gonna bring us to the green flag this time as they work their way through turns number 3 and 4. Barney the flagman has the green flag in hand, and it's waving, brought to you by Third Party Gaming. We're underway on night number 2. Chad Griggs with a great jump. He's going to get out to the early lead here in this one. Watching behind him, Dean Reynolds battling it out with a bunch of cars. Is down on the inside. Looks like Gavin Chatham going to lose a couple of spots. Hit a bit of a berm on the bottom. Logan Trimmer, Ernie Williams Jr. all there together. But out front, Griggs going to lead lap number 1. Hoffman second. Dean Reynolds in that 3rd spot. Jackson Sutton, Shane Yost, and Gavin Chatham all up here as well. Watching drivers working their way up through the field. Trevor Royer up 5 spots already. That's car number 90 that you see on your screen. Actually 29 on his, or no, that is the 90 down on the bottom. And Trevor Royer working his way up quite a bit here. Matt Grimm, another driver up through the B main. He's having himself a solid start to this one. And just taking a look at the driver everyone's been looking for, Tanner Pettit. He's back in position number 14. That's him in car number 24 as Logan Trimmer from the front of the field to his side off of turn number 2. Looks like going to be night over in this one for Logan Trimmer. Let's take a look and see what happened to him here, Ella. Watching Logan Trimmer up on the high lane in car number 45. Just going to pop the berm a little bit too much. Hits the jump, and he's going to go over on the wall. Flips that machine down the back straightaway. Loses the top wing, and he's going to have to take it back to the Dirt Series Promotions pit road and to the attention of his pit crew. So unfortunately, it looks like night over for Logan Trimmer.
A little bit of an unfortunate start for him this race.
Well, definitely an unfortunate start, and, you know, locking into the A main tonight is just the start of what you need to do to get into tomorrow's big dance. For Logan Trimmer, if he's not able to get back out here with that car fixed up here in just a moment, as you see Dustin Glenn down pit lane as well, Logan Trimmer really needs to get that car back out here so he can start logging some points and get himself in that top 16 if he wants to be in the big dance tomorrow night. So Chad Griggs, Kenny Hoffman, Dean Reynolds, the top 3, as the 1 to green signal is indicated at the top of your screen. Jackson Sutton and Mason Hannigan now inside the top 5. So good run from a couple of these guys that we might not have had penciled as the early contenders in this one. Still a very, very long way to go. Only 4 laps in to tonight's feature race. So long way to go here in this one. Once again, this caution brought to you by 618 Engraving and Design. as the pace truck about to work its way off. We're going to get set to go green this time by Chad Griggs. Kenny Hoffman in control of the field. Barney the flagman has the green flag in hand. It's waving and we're underway. Third party gaming green flag is back out here at Knoxville. Griggs going to lead down the back straightaway. Hoffman there in second. Looks like Tanner Pettit's working his way up inside the top 10 already as Ernie Williams and Jake Harris battle it out just ahead of him. Pettit, one of those drivers that's just really found something early. His issues at the back of the field as well. We're going to see Andrew Allen, Tobias Fitzsimmons, Teddy York, multiple others involved in this one. Rick Main also going to get a piece as the 618 Engraving and Designs yellow flag going to fly once again for the second time with 19 to go. Ella, taking a look at this one, let's see what happens to put us under caution for a second time. You can see Ricky Mains on the bottom. Looks like he's going to make contact with, I believe, that to be Tobias Fitzsimmons on the inside of him. But Mains made contact with Andrew Allen, and that's what kind of triggered all this. Multiple cars going to get involved, and the caution flag going to fly right away. I don't think many of these drivers have hefty damage. I believe Andrew Allen may have worked his way to pit lane, but under that caution, one driver that's going to benefit, Logan Trimmer, able to work his way back out and rejoin the field.
Yeah, you know, we've already seen it a couple times tonight, just with drivers nowhere to go. Unfortunately, getting caught up in a few wrecks, but they'll make their way back out there and hopefully work their way through the field.
So one driver I was watching there under that last green flag sequence, of course, was Tanner Pettit. Got himself up to the 10th position, so he started fairly deep in the field, had to work his way up, now battling inside the top 10, gonna restart on the outside of row number 5, just to the outside of Jake Harris, and right behind Ernie Williams Jr. We'll see what kind of a run he can get. Still a long way to go here in this one, but so far so good for Tanner Pettit and Matt Grimm, who's right there with him. Both of those drivers on the ascent up through the field. We'll keep our eyes on 24 and 91 as we come to the 1 to green sign here, getting ready for the third party gaming green flag, which is about to come out here once again and take us out of this 618 Engraving and Designs yellow flag period. As we jump back to the front, Chad Grigg gonna lead us back to the green flag. Kenny Hoffman, Jackson Sutton, Dean Reynolds, and Mason Hannigan. That is the top 5 as we'll work our way through turns number 3 and 4 this time. Get ready for the green flag, and we're gonna crank it up here at Knoxville. So a good jump out front there by Chad Griggs as he took advantage of that third-party gaming green flag restart. Kenny Hoffman in that second spot behind him. Jackson Sutton battling it out with Mason Hannigan. Hannigan having a good run up into that 4th spot ahead of Dean Reynolds. Reynolds has fallen back to the 5th position as we watch a couple battles throughout. Jake Harris has a multi-car battle here going on with Ernie Williams Jr., Tanner Pettit, Jake Harris, Matt Grimm all together. As you see Pettit going to the way high lane, he's going to make contact with the outside wall, but keeps it pointed in the right direction there, Ella. So lucky for him, not going to make too hard a contact with the outside wall as he'll go 3 wide up through the middle. Keep your eyes on Tanner Pettit now as he goes to the inside of Shane Yost. Bit of a slider. He's going to slide up, move Pettit to position number 7.
Pettit's really making that 24 work, getting up some positions from starting a little bit deeper back in the field. So nice to see him back up in the top 10 and still making his way back up.
Another good battle going on here is Dean Reynolds going to lose a position to Gavin Chatham. They were side by side for a little bit in positions number 4 and 5, or in 5 and 6, as Mason Hannigan just up the road from them. Battle back here as well as Trevor Royer losing a couple spots. We're going to jump back up to 3rd though, as side by side for position. That's Mason Hannigan on the bottom. He's going to get by Jackson Sutton. Move Hannigan into that 3rd spot. Sutton back to 4th as he's still nose to tail, coming to 12 to go this time. Chad Griggs has company as Kenny Hoffman closes the gap up for that top spot. Hoffman in second, Griggs leading the way as they head down the back straightaway. 11 laps to go this time by for Chad Griggs in the DJM Racing 127. Griggs doing a heck of a job out front here, quickly approaching just 10 laps to go as Gavin Chatham now gonna get by Jackson Sutton. Sutton gonna fall back into that 5th spot. Next driver behind him is Tanner Pettit. As Pettit, you see him off of turn number 2, that time headed down the back straightaway, as this is still a side-by-side battle. Chatham up top, Sutton on the bottom. They've got Mason Hannigan just up the road from them as Griggs just got 10 to go. He's got lap traffic just up the road. That's Joseph Trzaskowski about to go 1 lap down to your race leader as Griggs works his way around once again. Just 9 laps remaining here. Preliminary night number 2, A main, has been a good one here so far as all these drivers putting on a show. We've had a couple of cautions, but nothing too major. Nothing's taken anyone out except for Andrew Allen. So only short 1 car from the start of this one as you see Gavin Chatham ripping that high lane, trying to close in on Mason Hannigan for position number 3. Jackson Sutton back there in the 5th spot. Tanner Pettit up to 6th. Dino Reynolds has fallen back to 7th. He's still got a gap over Shane Yost, who has Blake Carrick, Ernie Williams Jr., Richie Gaines, and Dustin Sargent right there with him. So a multi-car battle going on here as we look at the bottom lane. Richie Gaines and Dustin Sargent nearly making contact. That's for position number 11. So on the outside, the top 10 looking in as we'll jump back a little bit further. Jake Harris losing a couple of spots. There's Trevor Royer working the high lane on him. Shane Yost still in that battle with Blake Carrick is now battles on between Tanner Pettit and Jackson Sutton as they'll work their way side by side into turns number 1 and 2. That time Sutton with the position. Pettit gonna battle back, bit of contact to that right rear tire on the Jackson Sutton machine as Pettit still working the Highland. He is flirting with that outside wall, getting mightily close in car number 24 as Griggs continues to lead the way. Coming to 4 to go this time. 4 laps remain for Chad Griggs. Kenny Hoffman trying to close the gap, not quite able to do it that time as he's got the lapped car on the high side of Dustin Glenn. Glenn trying to stay within striking distance of the race leader. If a caution may fly, could potentially get himself back on the lead lap as we're coming around to 3 laps to go this time for Chad Griggs. Couple battles throughout the field continue to be here. Tanner Pettit trying to hold off Dean Reynolds as Reynolds trying to fight back up to that 6th position. We're going to come down the back straightaway through 3 and 4 this time. Popsicle sticks in the air. 2 laps to go for Chad Griggs as that's the lap car. Matt Grimm just up the road. Grimm, one of those drivers, Ella, that had a good ascent up through the field earlier on, just unfortunately got caught up in a couple of misfortunes and just wouldn't be able to work his way back as the white flag's in the air. 1 lap to go for Chad Griggs. He leads the way on night number 2 of preliminary action here in the 360 Nationals as we head down the back straightaway for the final time through turns number 3 and 4. Off of 4 this time. Checkered flag is out. Chad Griggs gonna pick up night number 2. Kenny Hoffman in 2nd. Mason Hannigan 3rd. Gavin Chatham 4th. Jackson Sutton in 15. Reynolds got up to 6th by Tanner Pettit in the late going of this one. Blake Carrick comes home 8th. Richie Gaines 9th. And Ernie Williams Jr. gonna round out the top 10. Top 3 going to work their way down the front straightaway and get set for tonight's Victory Lane celebrations. Of course, Victory Lane brought to you by our good friends at Royas Graphics. Royas Graphics, presenting sponsor of Victory Lane. Dean Reynolds going to come and congratulate the top 3. We're going to step aside once again, and when we come back, we'll talk to Chad Griggs, Kenny Hoffman, and Mason Hannigan. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on Regal Promotions Esports.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And we are back here on Regal Promotions Esports. Looks like we do have two of our top three drivers. Kenny Hoffman going to be standing by. That's our second place driver. He'll be joined here in just a moment by Ellis Scott. We'll go ahead and throw it down to Ella standing by with Kenny Hoffman.
Great race from you tonight. Looked like your car was working in your favor. What did you do to secure a podium tonight?
Just focus on running smooth, consistent laps. Once it kind of, the track just got really dead really quick, probably from the two early yellows with us pacing it in. So I don't know, just kind of focused on being consistent. Just made too many mistakes and let Chad get away. He ran a very good race.
Yeah, staying consistent definitely worked in your favor, being able to secure that second. Do you have any plans for tomorrow night's feature? What will you do differently for that one?
Hopefully not make as many mistakes, and maybe like a ton with the car for tomorrow. I'm not sure. We'll have to see, but as long as I do my part, I think we'll have a good shot tomorrow.
Yeah, well, best of luck to you tomorrow. Who do you have to thank behind your car?
Just shout out to all of my teammates on KHR. Thanks to Casey for the help tonight. Chad Griggs with Aces Up Sim Sport, KSMS Racing Media, K Simon Photography, Books Built Sprints, Fusion Setup Shop. Huge thanks to Colin Bocus for helping me for this race. Thanks for the broadcast, and thanks to all the admin team for putting this event on for us.
Well, congratulations on your podium finish. Hopefully we see you again tomorrow, and best of luck.
Thank you.
That was Kenny Hoffman, your second place finisher here tonight. And I'm now joined here in Roy's Graphics Victory Lane by Chad Griggs. Chad, you had a good run here tonight, got it done. But walk us through your race, and how are you so good here tonight?
I knew I had a teammate that ran his prelim night last night. So we had kind of a day to work on stuff and figure out how we figured tonight was going to go. And it pretty well just fell into my hand the way that I knew it was going to go. I knew it was going to be around the bottom. I knew I didn't want to be up there risking it every lap, up against the wall, and risk damage, flipping out of control. So I knew if I could just hit my marks down low that I'd be able to get a good finish out of it. I wasn't counting on winning. I wasn't planning on winning. I figured it'd be really tough. But somehow there on that first lap, I just was able to hold the bottom and knocked off some really good laps there early on. And it just felt good hitting the bottom.
Well, it definitely looked like it worked well for you here tonight, but obviously getting the win is a great thing. And looking back on tonight's race, is there anything that you might do differently tomorrow night if put into the same situations?
I don't think so. I think we're sitting pretty good going into tomorrow. I like what I've seen the last two nights. I like what was able to do tonight. The only thing will be the track state. We'll just watch the track and kind of how the track is. The track may be totally different tomorrow when it comes feature time. So if the track's different, then maybe we'll make some changes and change up the plan as to where we're going to go or how we're going to do it at that time.
Well, before we let you go here tonight, why don't you tell us about the sponsors, the people behind that beautiful machine?
I'd like to thank my team, TJM, Tyler Shell. He's a lot of help to me. Bowen Smith is my teammate that ran last night. And we do a lot of working together. So I thank Bowen for a lot of the work that he puts in, and kind of bouncing ideas back off and forth of each other. But thank you guys for the broadcast, and Reigel for putting this deal on. It's a fun deal.
Well, Chad, congratulations on the victory here tonight on preliminary night number 2, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow night in the big dance. Good luck.
Thank you, sir.
That's Chad Griggs, your winner here tonight in Arroyo's Graphics Victory Lane. And Ella, looks like we do have Mason Hannigan, our third place driver, and you're going to be standing by with him, Mason Hannigan.
Great run from you, Mason, securing a podium. How did you find the track there tonight?
It was all right. I haven't raced in I don't know how long, and I don't know how long I haven't raced at Knoxville, but it wasn't bad. I think it's been since May or so since I raced last time, so it wasn't bad. I think the last time I ran 360 was when we ran the last Regal race of the regular season, so we weren't bad. I think I would have qualified. I feel like I should have been top 3, maybe if not quick time. Messed the first lap up, and then I went out on kind of a full load of fuel there, so weren't bad. I kind of struggled to figure out where I needed to be in the heat race a little bit and made too many mistakes, but other than that, in the feature, we were all right. I think I needed a caution once I got to third. Me and Dean had a hell of a race as always, so yeah, I think I just struggled there when I got to third. I got to third, and then I felt like I dropped an anchor, and I can't remember who was on my ass there for the whole time, but yeah, just kind of stayed in third, but we for sure locked up some decent points for tomorrow, so that's all that really matters in this deal. And you know, you don't have to win the race to be in the top of the points, so I think we should be towards the top. After looking at last night, I think 480 was the top spot, and we shouldn't be too far off that. I think we should be in the I think actually 480, so even the high 480, so yeah, we should be all right.
Well, you talk about those points securing into the tomorrow night's feature. What will you do differently tomorrow night to hopefully secure another podium?
I don't know. I think I got to get the car a little better. Kind of just struggled when I got the third, so I don't know. Kind of gonna have to look and see where I could have went wrong at. Yeah, I don't know. We're kind of just gunning for the win here. I'm not looking to run second or third. We're here to dominate this one, but these guys have been running for a little bit, so it's not gonna be easy tomorrow. Tanner, Ross, Kenny, Chad, Helms, the guys that ran last night. I don't really know who all ran last night, but I know some of the top guys are gonna be really fast. So obviously everybody's mixed into one night now tomorrow. So we'll really see where we stack up, and hopefully we're quick. Hopefully we're as quick as we were tonight.
Yeah, well, best of luck to you tomorrow. Before we let you go, who do you have to thank for this awesome car tonight?
Yeah, all the boys at Black Diamond Motorsports. Can't thank them enough. Got to thank Andrew for putting this deal on. He's put on really good league the past couple months, and yeah, I was really looking forward to doing this. And really, I don't think I'd have been racing iRacing if it wasn't for his deal. So right now, at least, so. Can't thank Andrew for putting this deal on enough. He puts a lot of time and effort into this, and it's good to see somebody have that much, want to do it. So, yeah, really thankful for him having this deal, and got to thank Tim Sims, UDTV, and yeah, we'll be back tomorrow.
Well, best of luck to you tomorrow. Hopefully we see you back in Victory Lane.
That's Mason Hannigan, your third place driver here tonight. And Ella, first off, let's just take a quick look at the finishing results from tonight's feature race. We mentioned a bunch of those guys up at the front of the field. Chad Griggs, Kenny Hoffman, Mason Hannigan, the top 3. Kevin Chatham, Jackson Sutton, Dean Reynolds, Tanner Pettit, Blake Carrick, Richie Gaines, and Ernie Williams Jr., the top 10. Then you look on the outside of the top 10, guys such as Dustin Sargent, Rick Main, Logan Trimmer, Jake Harris, Teddy York, Tobias Fitzsimmons, Shane Yost, Dylan Johnson. That is the top 18. The rest of the field, Trevor Royer, Matt Grimm, Dustin Glenn, Joseph Drskowski, Steven Stewart, and Andrew Allen. That was the finishing order here tonight on preliminary night number 2 of the Regal Promotions 360 Nationals, brought to you by Right Rear Racing. and our preliminary action was brought to you by Slide Job Syndicate. Ella, final thoughts on the final events of qualifying here before the big dance tomorrow night?
Yeah, 2 great nights of racing. Lots of strong competitors in that field. I don't know, it's going to be quite the battle tomorrow night for that win.
Definitely going to be a big battle for the win. A lot of guys that might be coming from deeper in the field we'll have to keep our eyes on, such as Dean Reynolds and Tanner Pettit. Both of those drivers had solid recovery runs here tonight in the A main, not necessarily where they would have wanted to finish, but should they have enough points to lock into tomorrow night's A main, it's going to be quite the battle. And of course, we're going to have drivers working their way through both of those consies. And just a quick programming note, tomorrow night, we're going to get underway at 8 o'clock Eastern time. So we should be live about 8 o'clock on Reigel Promotions Esports. We're going to have 4 B mains, and then we'll lock into the feature race. The championship night feature should be starting roughly about 9:15 p.m. tomorrow night right here on Reigel Promotions Esports. Once again, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when we're back with more 360 national action. But on behalf of Andrew Reigel and Reigel Promotions Esports, Ella Scott, my name is Robert Hill Jr. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you tomorrow night.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.